Gruesome Magazine.
I am your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing the Netflix film Troll. Yes. Joining me this week is my co-host Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee, indeed.
Okay.
Also joining this week is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
I'm great. How are y'all doing?
All right. Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I saw that. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Also joining us, award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr. Hiya.
I'm doing good. I'm kind of mad that this movie is not the remake of Troll 2, but I'll take it.
Oh, wow. Trollier. All right. Rounding out the crew is the one and only Dave Dreher. How you doing, Dave?
Hey. Could they actually make a sequel to Troll 2? I don't think that's even possible, is it? I don't think we could go
You
there.
can't capitalize on what they
Yeah,
created Troll
I don't
2.
see how they'd possibly do that.
No. Why even go there? When you get that far down, you just
Just leave it alone.
you just all right. Well, we're here to review Troll, which is streaming on Shudder. No, it's not. It's streaming on Netflix. Excuse me.
Netflix.
Where-
What we're going to be doing?
Just change it in audio post.
Ah, we're
move your
going to live
mouth.
with it. It's there. It's there. It happened. We are going to start off giving you our first impressions, so it will be spoiler free. Then we'll dive into a discussion of the film. We might give some spoilers. There's maybe a few in here. It's not really a spoilery kind of thing. It's pretty much on its face. And then we'll wrap things up with our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. Oh boy. And of course, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others we have on the site. And if you do, please hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend, and help us reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers. Only you can help us do that. One little click, please. All right, let's take a look at this card. I'm not pronouncing these names. I'm telling you right off
Thank
the bat.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doc.
Mhm.
All right, Troll, Netflix, available streaming on Netflix beginning December 1st, 2022. The synopsis is: deep in Dovre Mountain, something gigantic wakes up after 1,000 years in captivity. The creature destroys everything in its path and quickly approaches Oslo. Directed by Roar Uthaug.
No, just let this
I'm
go.
going to do the written by, but yeah, there's the authors and there's the stars, and off we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
I couldn't even begin to tell you how to pronounce it either. So yeah,
Well, I could
it
do
is.
Annemarie Wilmann, maybe. Kim Falck.
I was going to say, Kim Falck can probably do that. Falck.
And then Mads Pettersen, if I don't do the middle name, and then we'll
Yeah.
just
We'll just skip over the rest.
Cardi B. No, that's just
They're all silent vowels.
Cardi B. Oh, good Lord.
All right, jokes aside, let's get into this. What was our first impressions, Dave Dreher? We are so happy to have you here that you are going first. What was your first impression?
I really love this movie a lot. I had gone into this blind. I really hadn't seen anything about it other than what we'd reported on H&R. And boy, this really surprised me. I love the director. This is the same guy that did The Wave, right? I believe so.
I believe so, yes.
So yeah, he's got like a real disaster movie flair kind of touch to his filmmaking. And I really dug it. It reminded me a lot. This really shouldn't be a compliment, but it reminded me a lot of the 1984, was it? Whatever, the first Godzilla with Matthew Broderick.
Like the 90s something, yeah.
Yeah, whatever it was. Just how I don't know, like a couple of the scenes where they show the footprint and the lady standing in it, and it reminded me of that scene in that movie with Matthew Broderick was standing inside the footprint, and the monster kind of just storming all through the countryside, randomly destroying things. It was fun. I really enjoyed it a lot. It was a big surprise for me. And they actually dubbed it instead of making us read the goddamn subtitles, which I appreciated.
Yes, you could choose what you
Yep.
wanted. Yep. You chose wisely, son. Chose
Yes,
wisely.
yeah. Chose wisely. But no, this was a fun one. I really enjoyed it a lot. It surprised me.
All right, Christopher G. Mohr, you're up next. What was your first impression of a Troll?
This movie does right with what all the other kaiju movies do wrong.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Most of the kaiju movies I watch, I hate the people. I just want to watch the monster. This one I want to watch both. I feel like the characters they've created are great characters. You care about them. A lot of the Godzilla versus Kong, a lot of these movies, it's just about the star power, and you don't feel like they're real characters. And this one, these are real characters, and there's also a great sense of humor. There's an American sense of humor in it. There's like references to Star Trek, and there's homages to Jurassic Park in this. There's there's a Call of Duty video game reference.
Yes.
I mean, there's stuff all over that I laughed out loud about. And also you have this creature, this huge troll rock monster that most of the time would just be kind of goofy looking. And it'd just be like some side character in a Harry Potter movie that would be kind of goofy. But this one, they've created humanity as well as a scariness to this creature. And the special effects are amazing. The CGI in this is pretty amazing. Almost to the point to where it makes some other kaiju films look a little bit lesser. So I was actually kind of surprised by this. Especially, I kind of wish something like this could go to the theaters, but I think probably because it's a lot of the different languages would throw people off, like Dave. And although I watched it with subtitles and I enjoyed it just as much as
there you go.
But yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was wonderful. I thought it had some great action sequences. It had some kick-ass female stars in it, like the main person, even the programmer girl. That was great. Yeah, overall, it had a great sense of humor. I mean, this is, I think American movies should probably look at this and say, this is how you make action films or make a kaiju movie, because they really, everything came together, I think, for it all. And yeah, I was really pleasantly surprised by this film. It's really entertaining, and I think more people need to see it.
Excellent. Crystal, what was your first impression of Troll?
Oh, I loved it. I think this movie was so well done. I watched it with subtitles as well. I actually turned off the dub. I'm glad I caught it, because at first I was watching it and it was Billy Campbell, and so I thought, oh, it's in English, because it's Billy Campbell, the Rockahoo. But then as it went on, I was like, they're not speaking English. So I went back and actually put on the subtitles, because I do think sometimes it loses something in translation. I don't know if this one does, but I am kind of glad I watched it. The characters are so freaking cute. Like, I love the assistant. Or whatever. I don't know what the dude's name is.
Andreas Exacton.
Yeah, Andreas. Oh my God. He's so cute. I kind of fell in love with him. Okay. Like, I was like, oh, he's precious. Like, that nerdy little dude. I think that the military men were done well, shockingly, because typically, you kind of go, ugh, whatever. The quirky father is great. There was actually a moment that kind of jacked me up, that I actually went, oh, I got a little surprised. I wasn't ready for it. And it's going to be my favorite scene unless someone takes it, which they probably will. But, it's totally, if you don't like kaiju movies, you're not going to like this movie, because it is absolutely Troll. Yeah, 100%. And they did, it's really, really good. I like the lore. I didn't know about Troll mythology as it is, or as it was. And it's a little silly in one regard, but I'm also like, whatever, I'll go with it. I mean, it's a big troll, so silly anyway. But it doesn't come across as silly. So I think the acting was great. I think the cinematography was good. I think that they had a beautiful location. This is a really, really well-made film. Like, it's way better than I thought it was going to be completely honest with you. So, yeah, I loved it. I'll probably watch it again, even. That's how much I loved it.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Nice. Jeff, what was your first impression of Troll?
Definitely subtitles. I love the Norwegian language and the rhythm to it. So I like this a lot too. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to think of something that hasn't already been said. I love the you know, it had all these kind of tropes in there, but they did them so well it didn't feel like it was repeats. You know, you had the military government numbnuts that were doing all the wrong things and wouldn't listen to the people that knew. Then you had the band of four right doers, I guess, the father, daughter, and Andreas, the assistant to the prime minister, and Captain Chris, that were
Sigrid.
Well, yeah, but she wasn't one of the four that was out there. But yeah, Sigrid was definitely part of it at the end. So they, you know, so you had a professor, you had a guy that was like a super researcher that knew all the lore and all the background and all that stuff, and you had the government guy and you had the military guy. You know, there was nothing new, I don't think, in any of that, but they just did it so well. You're right, it just has humor, and it's got heart for both the humans, but also, you know, we got a creature that's got some heart too, you know, so that I think that really played out. So without going too much farther, other than, you know, the old guy's shack with all the stuff on there, I'm thinking we could see a couple dozen of these like Godzilla in Japan, only in Norway. There was so many things in the history that he had built up that they could make movies about. Anyway, great kaiju, excellent execution, good acting. Love the main actors, characters and their acting, I guess.
Well, I'm not sure what you guys saw in this movie. I don't get it. No, I'm kidding. I love this movie. I
would have been shocked.
No,
this movie was fantastic. Wow. Yeah. It did surprise me with the amount of heart this movie had. Like you said, with the people and also with the troll itself. There's a moment we'll talk about in the spoilers that really brings that home. But what I really liked is our lead. Ina-Marie Wilmann, who plays Nora, she is such a strong lead. And the film plays out like a 90s Hollywood film. I mean, it really kind of throws back to those Independence Day kind of movies. You know, there's a lot of speeches and yada yadas, and you know, all these kind of got to go against the one guy's making all the bad decisions so you can get things right and everything. It's just got all those tropes in there, but they don't come across as tropes. I think somebody else said that as well. It just really has a nice feel to it. I watched it twice. I pulled a Jeff. I watched it twice. I really enjoyed it.
You go, Doc.
Yeah. And it does have, I mean, there's some moments where, there's just some really great moments with the troll. And what Dave said, now that you've said it, it does play like a much, much, much better version than the Godzilla movie from the 90s, because it even has,
it really does.
It even has a moment when the troll looks down at a person and it has the same thing, the same feel, except for it doesn't have, New York City, but at the same time, I really enjoyed it. I'm really excited to talk about this and get into the meat of it. So let's do that.
Yeah, the thing is, it pulls lovingly from a lot of different things. You know, like there's a thing with the bells. It's very King Kong against the plains part. You know, you mentioned earlier Independence Day, that speech that what I call Norwegian Chris O'Donnell. He makes a speech just like in Independence Day. You know, I mean, there's all these sort of moments that kind of remind us. I mean, there's even like I mentioned the Jurassic Park when their teacup or whatever, you see the water thing that
they do the hemorrhage,
but there's like so many moments like that you can sort of like, okay, I remember this or that, you know, from this movie or that movie, but it does a great job in sort of integrating into this new story in a new area. And again, I think this is what I like about this is a lot of these other movies are so like the whole world is gonna die, you know, and as opposed to there's just one country and that's all we're dealing with. And I kind of like that. I really, really wish a lot of these movies would make it smaller to where it's just like an issue only against this one part of the world, as opposed to the whole world's going to go to hell. So we all need to fight these kaiju.
Yep.
And although you do watch it through the end credits, because it does have a hint there might be another one coming down the line.
Oh,
so.
yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
like,
yeah,
wait,
because
did
it
I
basically
find it?
just has Oslo, right? It just has the capital that they're heading toward. Well, there's a great reason for it too, which I really enjoyed. That this troll king is heading back home, and it has a little backstory of why he was in the mountain. There's a lot of really cool stuff wrapped into this, and a lot of cool little supporting characters scattered, like the family that sees that the troll smacks through their house. Their interaction was fun.
Man and the woman, yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody else catch in the music? I felt like there was a kind of a rolling theme that recurred that was sort of reminiscent of Godzilla. The standard theme for Godzilla. Nothing. It's not the same, but it was sort of like, we know this is a good way to do stuff, so we're going to do our version. If you listen to it, it kind of rolls through like that.
Well, I mean, there is some really nice orchestral type stuff that happens in certain parts that I can feel is really reminiscent of that, But yeah, it has all these things that there's even like, I felt like the guy getting punched felt very like Die Hard when they punched the reporter.
Isn't it? Yes. Yes, absolutely. That happens all the time, doesn't it? Oh my gosh! And then
They
the
have a
prime
weird reference, like to Pepsi Max. Did you? Pepsi
Toblerone
Max?
and Pepsi
Well,
Max.
Toblerone.
I heard the Toblerone.
I
I didn't catch the
Toblerone.
Pepsi Max one.
Okay, but Pepsi Max, I was like, does that even exist? Is
Maybe
that
it's
a real
it's
thing?
big in Oslo.
There's drinks there are different versions of drinks that we don't have here, so I would assume that's probably some kind of specific thing from that part of the world, I would assume.
Pepsi Max.
Yeah, I liked when they had the we see it in our films, the stateside, a lot, where they have all the countries reporting on the events, and here they had all the countries, and ours was incredibly silly.
Oh, and then the Japan one says, and it looks like Norway may have their own Godzilla.
They literally dropped it.
But a lot of times I hate seeing reporters in movies, because a lot of times they have really bad actors, and I'm sure there's another movie we'll review at some point that I'll crap on that. But
that was,
but in this one, yeah, these felt like real reporter type stuff, so yeah, and I think how they integrated it really worked really well, considering that like we get to see the different views from different people from all over the world. But again, that's the only time we go worldwide. It's all about
reporting. Yeah.
And I think also just being shown a different part of the world where this kind of event happens, it just brings a freshness to it, because we always hear about a little bit of Norway and stuff when it comes to like a lot of the things with Russia and stuff. We always hear a little bit about that, but we don't really know. I mean, some of us may not know as much about that area, so you get to sort of see this side of that. And but yeah, and also how they integrated the CGI, because you have night scenes, you have day scenes. There's a lot of different. Like I was really paying attention to the color grading and stuff, and how they're integrating these creatures in the environment. And there's like the part with fire and explosion and stuff, and it all looked very realistic. So I kudos. I don't know who did the CGI, all the computer graphic type stuff, but that stuff was really spot on.
Well,
I bet they used appropriate lighting though too, because a lot of times when you want to do CGI, it's really important to light the scene right. Like if you go ahead and put light on your actors that looks like it's already got fire, it's going to help.
Yeah, but when you get into more night scenes, it's kind of a lot of the seams start showing when it comes to integrating like stuff into that. So I'd be kind of interested in some behind the scenes stuff on how they made that, because yeah, it didn't really stand out like you see in some movies, because a lot of times they color grade on top of it and you can sort of see, or they shoot day for night. But yeah, I think how they integrated it, especially that whole thing where it's walking around that kids park.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought kind of funny when you're riding a water ride, you just jump out of the water ride.
Yeah, he did. He just looked right out.
So, Crystal, you mentioned the Rocketeer. Did you see? I read this and then I didn't check the credits to make sure, but they said Billy Campbell was listed as Ollie Campbell.
I didn't look at
for credits to give him a Norwegian name, I guess, but his character's name was David Dr. Sjøgård, which is what his name was in the
Sjøgård,
Rocketeer.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they ever actually
Oh, I
said that.
didn't even realize that.
Oh wow!
I don't know if
Oh,
they ever
that's
actually
funny.
called him by the name or not.
I
you
think
know.
his wife is Norwegian,
Oh, is she?
if I'm not mistaken. So
Just
I think
seeing-
that he might live. I think he lives there now.
Yeah,
So
Could be.
I just
Yeah.
him in this made me feel old.
I
have
didn't
a-
even recognize him.
I
recognize him.
didn't either. I was like, wait a minute, and then as we know, oh my god, that's the
the
freaking
first thing
Rocket-
I was like.
I have
Billy
I have the
Campbell.
Rocketeer poster in another room, and I'm like, oh, now he's old like me.
I liked our Captain Chris as well, and I like that they.
Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, well,
That
his name is
surprises me.
Christopher Holm.
I call him Norwegian
Chris
Chris
O-
O'Donnell
He-
because I kept
well,
thinking Chris O'Donnell, but better actor.
He reminded me of somebody, but it didn't remind me of Chris O'Donnell. There's somebody else, but maybe that's who it is. He did remind me of somebody. I was trying to get it.
He
I
was
never
great
could.
though.
Yeah,
He
and
was
I
wonderful because he
Mhm.
had that kind of glint in his eye, and just how he
But they
responded.
made him
reacted.
likable too. He wasn't a
Yep,
jerk. I
yep.
hate when they make military people jerks. I mean, you can have some jerks. Don't get me wrong, but they made him cool. They made him understanding, and it wasn't. It's like they almost alluded to like maybe there's some kind of connection between them, but they didn't explore it, and that was kind of cute. I
like that. I like that quite a bit. I like that they didn't have
they
to.
left it. Yeah,
Yep.
that they didn't have to go there, but the idea of it is cute.
Because they
I mean,
teased it with Andreas
I'm team
too.
Andreas. all the way, just saying, like
Well,
that would be my.
He
pick,
was
but-
great too. And what a great
he's
character because
funny.
he would say stupid stuff and he knew he was saying
So
stupid stuff and he'd sort of
cute, I
smile at himself, you
know.
know.
Takes his
He's
head
like,
off. And he throws
retirement.
it.
Why did I say retirement? I meant that sounds like I'm old. I meant quit.
Sadly, that was the guy I
Yeah.
could relate to most in this movie.
Yeah, I
'Cause
love
I'm
it.
always
He's
tripping
the
over
best.
stuff and saying stuff,
Ah.
and then like hours later, like, why did I say
Why
that?
did I do that?
What
I
is
know.
wrong
I'm
with me?
reliving conversations in my
But,
head all the time. I'm like,
By the way, the production design on this movie is really great, especially when we get to that cavern underneath that rich guy's palace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
oh yeah.
Holy crap! I was
Oh.
like,
Reminded me of like
and
Game
it-
of Thrones with the dragon.
yeah, and it kind of
Mhm.
like, especially when they're racing with that big skull on the back of it. I was
Oh,
like,
God.
Yeah.
I kind of want that big skull in my backyard.
Right? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh my god!
It'd be so cool.
Well, it sounds like we just absolutely love this. Dave, I'm going to give you the last word, and why don't you tell us a little bit about,
You know what? I think we
about the
dissected this
troll
one pretty
himself?
good.
Yeah, talk about the troll character himself.
Yeah, my only other experience with a troll movie was that movie in 2010 or so, The
Troll Hunter.
Troll Hunter.
Yes.
And he kind of like they seem to kind of go with what their legends say a troll looks like. They all got that kind of big bulbous nose. Although I don't remember the one in Troll Hunter being like made of rock, but I could be
But
wrong.
aren't
I haven't
trolls
seen that movie in a long
supposed
time.
to
They
They
would
should
become
be.
rock if they shine the lights on them. They had the the special lights that would turn
Yeah, the special light to
Right,
turn
right,
it
right.
around. Yeah, but I mean in that original, in the Troll Hunter movie, I don't remember. It's been too many years since I've seen it. But I mean, I think they stayed true to what what people expect to see when they see a troll. So I thought it was great. They made him pretty much indestructible.
Yeah.
Until they figure out how to
Mm.
Destroy him.
but it looked great. I agree with Christopher. The special effects, the CGI was phenomenal in this.
Yeah, I liked early on when was it Big and Tiny were climbing up the mountain. They were looking
Yeah.
at the the mountain that's supposed to be
Mhm.
where the 13 trolls turned into the mountains.
Yeah,
And he says, just look like you believe, and then you see the faces of the trolls kind of come out of the
Beautiful.
rock.
Yeah.
That was
That was a
really
great
well done.
line, too.
really cool.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
a great line that instead of you have to see it to believe it,
Mhm.
if you believe
You
it,
have
you
to
will
believe
see
to
it.
You will see it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up with our score 1 to 5. Take a guess what that's going to be, and then let's pick a favorite scene. I think there's enough scenes that we can all pick one. Yeah,
We should.
Sure.
I
Dave?
would think so.
you're up first.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites of the year. Actually, I really like this a lot. I think we're definitely talking top 3 category for me here.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna give it a 4.75.
Nice.
I liked it, enjoyed it a lot. Favorite scene? I love the scene where the father and the daughter are standing like in the field there with the mountains around them, and the eye opens up
Oh
in the
yes.
side of the rock.
that was my
so
favorite.
awesome.
Yeah.
That was
That
such a
was
great
really-
reveal. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Actually
really, really
jacked me
good.
up.
So
when
enjoyed
they
that a lot.
and showed him climbing up out,
Yeah,
turn him
yeah,
into a troll rather than a pile of rocks. Right?
yeah. It was really
The
awesome.
eye.
Very
That's what
cool.
got me.
Good
Darn
stuff.
it.
So yeah,
Okay.
definitely seek this one out. And if you haven't watched it
Mhm.
yet, watch it. Watch it.
All right. Christopher G. Mohr, I'm going to put you up next. Can't remember the order. What's your score and favorite scene?
Yeah, I really love this film. I think my only issue may be just how a tinge of it plays out in the very end, but the majority of it I loved. So I'm gonna actually give it a 4.75 as well. I really enjoyed this. It's definitely one of the more entertaining films I've seen all year. As for favorite scene, I'll have to say it's the I think when they're flying the bells.
Oh, yeah, that was-
or the Hocus Pocus was it Hocus Pocus
Yes.
1, Hocus Pocus 2. I love that. I mean, it kind of reminded me of just a new version of the whole King Kong battling the plane scene, but I just found it, and it looked so great. I was watching it, and that whole time I'm not thinking this is CGI scene. This is just a cool action scene. So yeah, so that's probably, there was a lot of scenes I could pick from this, but that's one of the ones that stood out to me.
Yeah. It did work out really well. Crystal, your score, your favorite scene.
So I'm going to note something interesting that they did do with the troll is it has a tail, which I
Yes.
haven't seen
Yeah.
a troll with a tail.
Yeah.
So that was different. Not that it's that different, but I did kind of like it. It's kind
Well, it
of
plays an important
quirky.
part in one scene.
Yeah, it sure
Yeah.
does.
Yes, it does.
I'm going to give it a 4.5. A
Okay.
little bit lower than them, but you know how I am. Takes a lot to get up these hills for me once you get past 4. Okay,
mountains.
so mountains. Yeah, that was a missed opportunity. So my favorite scene. Well, see, they've taken it, but okay, my favorite scene is when they first go to meet the dad. I mean, it could be the whole thing, like how the dad is crazy, but when she's like, "Can you put on some pants?"
that was funny. But that was so 90s.
It's so
USA.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize. I mean, I don't know if you could tell before then. I'm assuming you couldn't because I didn't notice he wasn't wearing pants until she said he wasn't.
Well, he came out of the crapper, didn't he? Because he out of the outhouse. Wasn't that the
Oh.
outhouse? Because it had toilet paper on the door.
I didn't notice.
Oh,
I
I
didn't
just, thought,
notice that.
I just thought he came out of the house.
Well, I
Me
thought he did
too.
too the
Yeah.
first time, but the second time I noticed that there was toilet paper on the door.
Oh, ew.
Interesting.
Mm.
Well, you gotta take a shotgun with you too.
Yummy.
Apparently, when you're up in the wild.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like the reaction with Chris when Captain Chris showed up and he goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" and they're all pointing at you.
He's kind of like Randy Quaid's character from Independence Day, though.
Yeah, a
Very
little bit.
much so,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
much so.
very much so.
Yes. Maybe
Yeah.
better. Maybe better.
Yeah, yeah.
Much better, yeah.
Jeff, your
I'm-
score, your favorite scene.
Yeah, I'm going to go 4.75 as well.
Nice.
It's nearly perfect. I mean, I love the bell scenes, but I'm not sure that's. I mean, couldn't you have done like Apocalypse Now and rigged up loudspeakers?
There's a bunch of things, but does it look as
But
good?
anyway,
Don't look as cool.
Yeah.
Mm.
yeah, it was. It was. I love the scene. I love the scene. It just after the fact, I'm thinking. Anyway,
I'm sure they were
Um,
too. Like, why do we take bells?
so I'm going to pick a I could pick dozens of these troll scenes, but I'm going to pick a scene between Nora and her father where Nora's leaving. She says the adventure of Big and Tiny is over, and her dad argues with her and kind of gets her. She agrees to come along, and then he looks at her and goes, "There you are."
Yeah,
I
I like
finally
that.
see my
Yep,
daughter
I like that.
again.
I like that.
And she gives him a little bit of a grin and a twinkle in the eye. That was a great family heart scene kind of thing.
Yeah, and I like how the other characters were, wrapped up into it as well. They weren't participating; they were just watching. But you could see when they shot back to them that they were really into that. So that helps. That helps sell it quite a bit. I'm going to give it a 4.75 as well. Just kind of all go there.
Yay.
It is one of the best kaiju films of the past decade, at least, if not further. We'll get Troll versus Biolante next, I'm pretty sure.
Gigatroll.
Gigatron.
Mega Shark.
My favorite scene, I'm so surprised that nobody mentioned this. Maybe you guys called a clue earlier, but so the skull is, of course, the big skull we were talking about is his son, right? His children, his offspring. And, they I forget how, but the skull ends up falling off of their transportation, and he picks it up. But after that, he realizes what's going on, and he looks into the skyscraper, and he sees himself. Mm-hmm. And you can just see all this emotion. It was really cool. That's when the CGI, I think, really impressed me. But then he touches the glass, and he breaks it, and it makes him drop the skull, right? So it was, I don't know, it was really a touching scene with this big CGI troll, and it really, that's where this heart really just hammered home. So loved it.
Nice scene.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yay.
All right.
Oh.
That's our review of Troll.
I'm telling you, I mean, they could have a troll movie he had that story he told about 1840, and then there was all these newspaper articles, and then when they say that, I mean, you guys knew there was another one was going to turn up, because the what was the guy's name? The guy in the palace, or somebody said they used the young one to lure the king out to the mountains to trap him. So where's the young one?
Right.
That they used to lure him out. So
yeah, I'm sure there's more. That's just one family of them, right? So just happened to be the king, the Troll King. I like that. I'm there. Yeah. I hope this did well somewhere that they'll do or Netflix orders another one, because this was a blast. I'm hoping it doesn't get lost in all the other films that are out there.
That's my worry.
Netflix puts out a lot of stuff.
They do, and they don't. I mean, a lot of times it's not promoted in a way that allows it to be seen as much, I guess, sometimes, because they have so much content. So a lot of times
it gets very quick.
Yeah.
It popped up to #1 on the movies right away, but now it's down to maybe 5 already in like 5 days. So,
well, and that's also the problem, because they've got new stuff coming out every week, so like Wednesday and other things that people
almost every day they got something.
Yeah.
Everything's leading up to Glass Onion this month anyway. So
Yep.
All right. Well, there you go. That's our review for Trolls. Crystal, Jeff, Dave. Welcome back, Christopher. Thank you all for joining me.
Thanks
always
for having
fun.
us.
Yeah.
All right, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Night.
Make it so.